Have you ever heard you're wasting protein if you eat too much in one meal? Well, new research shows that if you consume 100 grams in a single meal, 12 hours later, it's still feeding and growing your muscles. So today, I'm showing you how to pack an entire day's worth of protein into an authentic Chicago-style pizza that helps you build muscle, lose fat, and makes hitting your protein goals effortless. Let's get into it. Pizza dough is like a fine wine. It gets better with time. Since that's the case, let's start by making it. All we need is a bowl and a spoon. Place your bowl on a scale and add 340 grams AP flour, 90 grams vital wheat gluten, 3 grams yeast, and 6 grams salt. Vital wheat gluten is one of my favorite kitchen hacks. It packs as much protein as your typical protein powder, but at a fraction of the price. That's why it's a staple in almost every protein pizza recipe I've made for my cookbook, and it's not going anywhere. But here's something most people don't know. Even though it's loaded with protein, vital wheat gluten is missing one key amino acid, lysine, which means by itself, it's not perfect for building muscle. The good news? We're topping the pizza dough with pork and cheese, which are both loaded with lysine. When you eat them together, the vital wheat gluten and the toppings work as a team to give you a complete protein and help slap on muscle with every slice. Mix those dry ingredients together using a whisk and then add 16 grams olive oil and 240 grams warm water. Now don't even think about skipping the olive oil to save a few calories. This isn't just for flavor. It's your secret weapon for a crispy golden crust, especially when you're baking in a home oven. Mix the ingredients with a spoon until it frustrates you to the point that you want to throw the spoon across the room. That's your cue. Time to get your hands dirty. Squeeze and press the dough together until all the flour is hydrated. Yes, even the flour that ends up on the counter. At first, it'll look like there's way too much flour and not enough water, but trust me, after 2 to 3 minutes, you'll have a dough that's fugly but hydrated. Cover the bowl and let your fugly duckling take a 20 to 30 minute nap. This rest time does the hard work for you, no kneading required. After 30 minutes, the dough should look like this. Take a soaking wet hand and scoop under the dough to loosen it from the bowl. Then stretch it up, fold it over itself, and give the bowl a quarter turn. If the dough tears, like here, don't worry about it. The dough will get stronger soon. Repeat the stretch and fold process until you've stretched all sides. Flip the dough over and round it against the side of the bowl a few times to get it ready for another nap. At this point, it should start looking like a big, beautiful dough ball. Cover it again and let it rest for another 20 to 30 minutes. This is what it will look like, and then repeat the same stretch and fold process. For extra insurance, give it one last 30-minute rest. This is how you guarantee that perfect pizzeria-style dough. Now, take the dough out and divide it into 2 equal pieces. Flatten out the dough a bit, stretch each side, and fold it over itself. Then flip it over and use the counter to shape it. Seal the bottom of the dough and pop each ball into a container. If you're impatient and hungry, you can let one rest at room temperature for 1.5 to 2 hours and start making pizza. But for the best flavor, let them chill in the fridge for 24 hours. I promise it's worth the wait to reach Flavor Town. The same goes for our Italian sausage. Prep it the day before, and tomorrow you'll have everything ready for a pizza that will blow you away. Speaking of our Italian sausage, you can prep this in between one of the dough's stretch and fold cycles since it only takes a couple minutes. So go ahead and grab your meat. Have you ever noticed how certain food from your hometown never quite tastes the same anywhere else? That's especially true for Chicago-style Italian sausage. I've spent years trying to crack the code. This time, I dove into the dark corners of Facebook groups, and what I discovered completely changed my meat game forever. And honestly, it's wild how many of these tricks ended up in my cookbook, Diet Cheat Codes. That's the same cookbook that's helped Thousands of people lose weight because they didn't have to give up their favorite foods like pizza, ice cream, and yes, even burritos. I used these exact recipes to lose 75 pounds myself, and I've never felt or looked better. If you want early access to new recipes and a way to actually lose weight and keep it off, click the link in the description and use code E4CM for 10% off. Let's get mixing. Into a bowl, add 448 grams of 90-10 ground pork, 8 grams minced garlic, 4 grams fennel seed, and 3 grams ground fennel. To make ground fennel, I just add it to a mortar and pestle and crush it, but you can also blend it in a blender cup as well. Then we'll finish by adding 2 grams ground anise, 2 grams garlic powder, 1 gram black pepper, a half gram crushed red pepper, and a half gram dried oregano. Have you ever baked a chicken breast that ended up extremely dry?
What the fuck?
Yeah. That's what happens when all the water escapes while it's baking in the oven. I tried adding red wine vinegar and white wine vinegar while going through the testing process for the sausage after a 24-hour salt brine in the fridge. The flavor, awesome. The texture, dry and chewy. Turns out, the vinegar cancels out the salt's water-retaining magic, so all the fat and juices escape while cooking. Another lesson learned the hard way for King Ricky. Now take 2 to 3 minutes to really mix the pork and seasonings together. It might seem like a lot of seasoning, and honestly, it is. But that's how it's done at nearly every pizza shop I've visited in Chicago. If you want something more simple, check out my Lou Malnati's version from the deep dish video. Their sausage is just salt and garlic powder. While delicious, it's not the authentic Chicago flavor I'm looking for. Cover the sausage and pop it in the fridge with your dough balls. Grab a deli container and add 780 grams of your favorite crushed tomatoes, 14 grams olive oil, 9 grams minced garlic, and 4.5 grams of salt. Give it a good mix, and that's it. Your sauce is done. I prefer using 6-in-1 crushed tomatoes, but honestly, use whatever you like best. Now throw the sauce in the fridge and let those flavors marinate. 2 to 3 hours before you're ready to eat, take the dough out of the fridge and let it sit on the counter. You'll notice the dough is bigger and smells amazing. That's all the flavor it developed while hanging out in the fridge. Pro tip, if you want to speed things up, preheat your oven for just 60 seconds and immediately shut it off. Place your dough container inside and close the door. This creates a warm, cozy environment that helps the dough rise faster. You can use this trick in between the stretch and fold stages too, like this video. Grab a 16-inch piece of parchment paper, crumple it up, then lay it flat on your counter. This is another pro tip for easily sliding your pizza in and out of the oven. Next, sprinkle cornmeal across the top of your dough, flip it out onto the counter, and add cornmeal to the bottom as well. This classic Chicago trick gives you that signature texture and makes handling the dough a breeze. Start pressing the dough out with your fingertips until it's about 8 to 10 inches wide. Once you hit that girth, grab a rolling pin and roll it out even further, aiming for 10 to 12 inches. Now pick up the dough and let gravity do the work for you. Hook your fingers inside the edge and rotate it in a circle, gently stretching as you go. I then like to make 2 fists, place them in the center of the dough, and gently pull outward to stretch it even more. Hold the dough up to the light to spot any thick spots. Stretch those out so your pizza bakes evenly. Lay the dough on the parchment to check your girth. You're aiming for 14 to 16 inches depending on how thick you want your crust. I usually go for about 15 inches, but you do you. You'll notice the crust is thicker than the rest of the dough, which is totally normal. If you need a bit more size for your pizza, use your rolling pin to roll the edges out another inch or so. And don't stress about making it a perfect circle. Once the toppings go on, you'll be able to shape it even more if you'd like. Speaking of, add 176 grams of your sauce to the center. Then use the bottom of a spoon to slowly spread out the sauce by rotating in a circle until we get all the way to the edges. Unlike most pizzas, this style doesn't have a big crust. Now, here's where layering matters. Have you ever made a sandwich with the bread in the middle and the meat and sauce on the outside? Of course not.
This is horse.
Layering is key for a good sandwich, and the same goes for this pizza. The meat goes on before the cheese. Why? Lower fat meats like turkey pepperoni can dry out in the oven, so the cheese acts as an insulator, keeping everything juicy. First, sprinkle 8 grams of Pecorino Romano and 8 grams of Parmigiano Reggiano over the sauce. Then distribute 239 grams of your Italian sausage evenly across the pizza. I usually get 6 to 7 balls per quarter. Fill in the gaps with 84 grams of turkey pepperoni. Now, for the cheese. Again, the correct layering is crucial. Start with 112 grams of fat-free mozzarella, then add 182 grams of part-skim mozzarella. The fat from the meat and part-skim cheese bring the fat-free cheese to life. No one will ever know it's there. And please, for the love of God, shred your own cheese. Finish with a sprinkle of oregano over the top, then bake at 500 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 to 12 minutes or until the cheese is brown to your preference. A pizza steel to a home oven pizza is like a cast iron pan to a perfect steak. Without it, you're just never going to get the same crust or browning. If you don't have one, check out this video after we're done for an alternate method. But if you're serious about making pizza at home, a pizza steel is hands down one of the best investments you can make.
Oh my God.
Once the cheese looks perfect, transfer your pizza to a raised wire rack and let it cool for 2 to 3 minutes. But we're not done yet. The crust will be crunchy out of the oven, but as it cools, some parts might soften up. To bring back that crunch, pop it back onto the pizza steel for 2 to 3 minutes with the oven door slightly cracked. The goal is just to re-crisp the crust since our cheese is already perfectly cooked. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call pizza perfection. If I wanted to, I could eat this entire pizza every single day.
Oh my God.
And still lose nearly 2 pounds per week.
Nothing else needs to be said.
But here's the real problem. Most people quit because they never figure out this next part. Long-term fat loss isn't about nailing just one meal. It's about stacking your day with meals that crush your protein and calorie goals so you never feel deprived and you never fall off track. Honestly, this video means nothing without the next step. So in this video here, I'll show you how to make 20 high-protein, low-calorie burritos in just 90 minutes. So you'll always have a fat loss meal ready to go and your results become automatic. Until next time, deuces.